It is black and white drawings. In case you don't know about Stephen Gammel, he is Neil Gaiman. He illustrates a lot of Neil Gaiman's books. He could be just as wickedly, he could make things that look wicked. He could make things look funny. But he is a fabulous draftsman. He's a fabulous artist. He has a great deal of sensitivity. And I just want to share this book because I'm talking about the old things and memories and things that are in the autumn of their life. This is about an old banjo. An old banjo by Dennis Hasely, I think. It's just, I got it because to study, I got this book to study Stephen Gammel's illustrations and just fell in love with the story. The Old Banjo by Dennis Hasely, drawings by Stephen Gammel. This was published in 1983. Another used book I got. Look at these fabulous people. Drawings of people. Creating a sense of mood with his drawing. Just fabulous. Just fabulous. All over the farm, there are instruments that no one plays anymore. I wonder if some band used to live here, says the farmer's boy. I wish we could have heard them. Well, they're gone now, says his father, and we got too much work to do. So up in the attic waits an old banjo with worn silver strings. And a trombone lies under a bed with a wool sock stuffed in its bill. And an old piano sits in the gray barn with the ivory chipped on its keys. It looks like it has a few teeth missing. Let's see if I can try to get these illustrations in there for you to see them. And a violin waits in the shed with a bright trumpet going cloudy and a clarinet like a shadow left behind. But one day, just toward evening, while the farmer and his boy are working and the sky is the color of a stone, the old banjo remembers how a smiling old woman and all her sons and daughters used to sit on the porch and fill the night with music. And while it remembers, the old banjo gives a quiet little pluck. And across that gray farmyard, the violin hears the banjo's pluck and begins to stretch its bow along its strings like a rusty door opening. And the banjo hears the violin and plucks again. And from inside the barn, the piano hears the banjo, and it pushes down one chipped key like the shy beginning of a giggle. And the farmer looks up from his plow and squints and says, "Must be the cat." But the banjo hears the piano and plucks another string. And downstairs, a trombone hears the banjo, and it starts to blow through the sock, low and soft, like a boat traveling home through the fog. The banjo plucks again. And on a shelf in the milking house, the trumpet hears the banjo, hears the trombone, hears the violin, and gathers up its strings and makes a sound like geese flying, on a winter's night. And the farmer's boy looks up and smiles and sees a cloud floating like a wing. And now across the farm, all the instruments that no one plays anymore start to slowly lift their voices. And the farmer looks at his son. He looks at the sky and he says, "Well, it must be the wind." But the banjo rings out another string and the moon starts to rise like a drum. The stars begin to shine like bells, so they put down their tools and search for the sound. They look in closets and in sheds and in the barn and behind shelves while the forgotten sounds are rising and the banjo strings are playing. And now out in the yard, the dogs begin to howl. The cows begin to moo in the fields until at last the instruments are found. And as it's lifted, the trombone sounds, and sweet and pure, as if it were calling from a mountain. And the violin cries and sings, as if the fields were filled with dancers, and notes fly from the piano's keys like wild birds rising, and one by one, the farmer and his son take each instrument, like clarinet and the violin and the trumpet, and they carry them into the night. And now all the forgotten instruments are singing together. Their sound grows clear like glass, like bells, rolling off the moon, ringing through the stars, and weaving through that father's heart. And the old banjo with worn silver strings lies in the attic and listens. And the sound is so beautiful. Listen. I hate to break that spell, but there are several reasons that I love. Well, it's just fabulous. The story is fabulous. I've put 2 videos online today on YouTube about the beginnings of Romanticism. William Wordsworth, his contribution is mostly about childhood and about nature. William Blake, on the other hand, wrote the songs of innocence and experience, and he talks about darkness and light. And innocence is light, and darkness is in experience is darkness. The youth are innocent. The older people who have no longer have any ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to feel, that's experience. And at first this is old, but they're not dead, they're old. And what we're going to find out is not only do they come back alive, but they wake up. Look at this illustration. Folks, buy this book just to look at the illustrations and then just fall in love with the story. That's what I did. But one day, just toward evening, while the farmer and his boy are working, and the sky is the color of a stone. A stone. It's worse than night. And then the old banjo remembers how an old woman and her sons and daughters used to sit on the porch and fill the night with music. That is contradicting, turning darkness around. And so this is definitely a romantic book. It's a book in romanticism. It from the standpoint that it's out on an old farm. Well, the old farm is experience. It's about had it. This man keeps being cynical. He is about had it too, as far as experience goes. But inside the barn, the piano hears the banjo and it pushes down one chipped key like the shy beginning of a giggle. How fabulous. And the trombone hears the banjo and starts to blow through the sock, low and soft, like a boat traveling home through the fog. The fog is experience, not being able to see, not being able to receive. Home is the cure of experience. When I'll read many things about going home, and going home is the recovery of innocence. And the trumpet hears the banjo, hears the trombone, hears the violin, and gathers up its streams and makes a sound like geese flying in the winter's night. Winter is the season of just deathly experience, to the point of being deathly experience, old. Night is darkness. So this book is and here is what I want to say. And sees, the farmer's boy looks up and smiles and see a cloud floating like a wing. A wing. I'm going to talk about wings later, but in the secret garden, with the Mary is crossing the moor. And she thinks it's a waterway. In a way, she has taken wing and she's flying across the moor. Okay, so the boy and the dad, there may be hope for that old dad. So they take their instruments and carry them into the night. I want you to notice this, the stars shining. I've written a post about the stars and the moon are lights in the night. As long as we see stars and a moon, it's not totally dark. There are lights in the night. And now all the forgotten instruments are singing together. Their sound grows clear, like glass, like bells, rolling off the moon, ringing through the stars. And the old banjo with worn silver strings lies in the attic and listens. Listen.